Why you panic first and think later. Before you can think, your brain has already decided to run. That sudden jolt you feel when you hear a loud noise or see something threatening. That's not your logical brain at work. It's your survival brain, your reptilian core, launching a full-body alert before reason ever gets a chance. This isn't a flaw, it's evolution. But in today's world, where real danger is rare and manufactured fear is everywhere, this same mechanism becomes a tool for manipulation. The brain's response to fear is automatic and ancient. It's called the fight, flight, or freeze response. The moment a potential threat is detected, your amygdala, a small almond-shaped part deep in the brain, sends out a distress signal. Your body floods with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart races, your muscles tense, and your breath quickens. You're ready to react, not reflect. But here's the key point. This all happens before your neocortex, the rational part of your brain, gets involved. The panic comes first. The thinking comes later, if it comes at all. This was useful when threats were lions or falling rocks. But now, the threats we respond to are headlines, opinions, tweets, and flashing red news alerts. Our ancient brain can't tell the difference. It reacts to the feeling of danger, not the truth of it. Manipulators know this. Politicians use urgent language. We must act now. We're under attack. If we don't stop them, we're finished. These aren't reasoned arguments. They're fear triggers. They want you to panic first and think later, or not think at all. Media does the same. Clickbait headlines scream about shocking developments, unprecedented threats, and terrifying possibilities. They know fear keeps you watching, scrolling, sharing. It hijacks your attention and suspends your logic. Even in everyday life, this pattern shows up. Ever send a message you regretted, made a decision out of anxiety, or reacted to someone's words in anger? That was your amygdala overriding your reason. Panic is fast, thought is slow. What's more dangerous is that panic feels true. When your body is in fear mode, your mind scrambles to find a reason to justify it. There must be a threat, it says. Otherwise, why would I feel like this? So you start believing things that aren't based on logic, but on emotion. You create stories to match your fear. That's why conspiracy theories spread so easily in times of uncertainty. People feel fear first, and then the brain tries to explain it. Logic gets twisted to fit the emotion. That's how panic becomes belief. This is why fear is the perfect tool for control. If you can make someone afraid, you don't need to convince them. Their brain will convince itself. All you have to do is press the right buttons. But here's the good news. Once you understand this mechanism, you can interrupt it. Step 1 is awareness. Learn to recognize the signs of a fear response. Your body tenses, your breath gets shallow, your heart speeds up. When that happens, pause. Take deep breaths. This sends a signal to your brain that there's no real emergency. You begin to switch from panic mode to presence. Step 2 is question everything that triggers fear. Ask, is this urgent or is it made to feel urgent? Who benefits if I panic? Is this fear coming from evidence or emotion? Don't just trust your feelings, verify the facts. Step 3 is train your brain. Practices like meditation, journaling, and slow breathing help build space between stimulus and response. Over time, you become less reactive. Your rational mind gets stronger. Remember, fear isn't evil. It protects us. But when manipulated, it imprisons us. If you want to stay free in a fear-driven world, you must reclaim your ability to think before you react. That's the only way to move from being controlled to being conscious. The anatomy of manipulation. Fear in action. Manipulation doesn't start with facts. It starts with fear. When someone wants to control how you think, they don't argue with logic. They bypass your reason and aim straight for your nervous system. Fear is the shortcut into your mind, and once inside, it can shape your reality without you even knowing it. Every act of manipulation through fear follows a pattern, a formula that works across time, cultures, and ideologies. It starts with identifying a threat, then amplifying it, isolating the audience emotionally, and finally offering a solution that requires submission, obedience, or sacrifice. Step 1. Create or highlight a threat. The threat doesn't have to be real. It just has to feel real. It could be a virus, an ideology, a group of people, or an event. The goal is to trigger the survival brain. Phrases like, "They're coming for your children," "This is a threat to our way of life," or "We're not safe anymore," aren't reasoned arguments. They're triggers designed to flood you with anxiety. Step 2. Magnify the fear. Show images, play dramatic music, repeat terrifying statistics, often out of context. Use words like crisis, breaking, shocking, and catastrophic. The more emotional you become, the less capable you are of critical thought. Step 3. Isolate you. Fear thrives in loneliness. Manipulators want you to feel that no one else understands your fear, or that you can't trust others who aren't afraid like you are. Divide people. Create echo chambers. Make them suspicious of their neighbors, their friends, even their family. Step 4. Offer a savior. After the fear has done its work, the manipulator steps in with the solution. Vote for me, and I'll protect you. Buy this and you'll be safe. Follow these rules and the danger will go away. The catch: you have to give something up. Freedom, money, privacy, individuality. This pattern works because fear disables critical thinking. When your reptilian brain is activated, you look for a leader, not logic. And that's exactly what manipulators want. Governments have used this during wars. They exaggerate threats, silence dissent, and label critics as traitors. Corporations use fear to sell. If you don't buy this, something bad will happen. Religious leaders invoke fear of hell or sin to demand obedience. But fear can also be subtle. It hides in everyday language. Everyone's doing this. Don't be left behind. If you don't act now, it'll be too late. These aren't facts. They're fear tactics. The most dangerous manipulation is when fear becomes your worldview, when you see threats everywhere, even where there are none. This leads to chronic anxiety, paranoia, and obedience to anything that promises safety. It turns you into someone easy to predict, easy to control. So how do you break free? First, study manipulation. Read about propaganda. Learn how advertising works. Understand political rhetoric. When you know the tactics, they lose power. Second, reconnect with your body. Fear lives in the body. If you can calm your breath, relax your muscles, and ground yourself, you interrupt the fear loop. A calm body supports a clear mind. Third, surround yourself with grounded people. Fear is contagious, but so is courage. Talk to people who question instead of react, who explore instead of obey. Finally, ask deeper questions. Instead of reacting to what you hear, ask, who's saying this? What do they want? What aren't they saying? Real questions lead to real freedom. Fear in action is the machinery of manipulation. But once you see the gears turning, you can choose to step out of the system. You can stop being a pawn and become a player, creating enemies, spreading fear. A timeless strategy. The easiest way to unite people is to give them a common enemy. From ancient empires to modern governments, This tactic has never gone out of style. When leaders want more control, more power, more loyalty, they often manufacture a villain, someone to blame, someone to hate, someone to fear. And the crowd obeys, not because they understand, but because they're afraid. This strategy works because humans are tribal. Deep in our evolution is the need to protect our group and fear the outsider. The moment someone is labeled as other, a different race, religion, country, or belief, they become easier to dehumanize. Every tyrant has known this. The formula is simple. Take a group, paint them as dangerous, and repeat the message until fear becomes instinct. In ancient Rome, barbarian tribes were used to justify wars and mass taxation. In medieval Europe, heretics and witches were targeted to strengthen religious power. In Nazi Germany, Jews were scapegoated to unite a broken nation. In post-9/11 America, vague threats like terrorists justified endless wars, surveillance, and fear-driven policies. Even today, political campaigns often use enemy creation: immigrants, opposing parties, social groups. The enemy is made to seem like a threat to your safety, your identity, your values. Logic disappears, emotion takes over. Once an enemy is created, everything becomes justified. Cruelty becomes defense. Silence becomes patriotism. Fear makes people believe that hate is protection. The result? Division, control, war. Media helps spread the fear. Repeating enemy images, highlighting the worst actions of a few to represent the whole. Creating a sense that they are always lurking, always coming for us. It doesn't matter if they are real. What matters is how people feel. This kind of fear unites, but only temporarily. It's a cheap unity based on hate, not love. And it always leads to more division down the road. So why does it keep working? Because fear is easier than complexity. It's simpler to say they're evil than to understand another perspective. It's more comforting to believe we're the good guys fighting the bad guys. That illusion keeps people obedient. The solution isn't to ignore threats, but to question them. Ask, is this fear based on facts, or is it being used to control me? Is this enemy truly dangerous, or just different? Who benefits from my fear? Real power comes from clarity, not panic, from thinking, not reacting, from building bridges, not burning them. Creating enemies to spread fear is an old trick. But recognizing the trick, that's modern power. The moment you see the game, you're no longer in it. You step above it. You reclaim your mind. And in a world ruled by fear, thinking clearly is the most rebellious act of all.
The fear loop, how you're kept in a constant state of alarm. If you keep someone afraid long enough, they stop asking why they're afraid and just accept it as normal. That's the fear loop, a psychological trap designed to keep you anxious, distracted, and obedient without ever realizing you've been programmed. The fear loop, how you're kept in a constant state of alarm. If you keep someone afraid long enough, they stop asking why they're afraid and just accept it as normal. That's the fear loop, a psychological trap designed to keep you anxious, distracted, and obedient without ever realizing you've been programmed. And the worst part, your brain adapts. It starts to treat anxiety as baseline. You can't relax. You can't breathe easy. Because the moment you do, another alert blares across your screen. Breaking news, new variant, rising tensions, unprecedented crisis. You were just calming down, but now you're right back in the loop. Why does this work so well? Blame evolution. The reptilian brain, your oldest mental machinery, doesn't care about happiness. It only wants survival. It watches for danger 24/7. In ancient times, this helped you run from predators. Today, it makes you scroll like your life depends on it. But in a world of manufactured threats, that instinct becomes a weakness. Fear is not just a reaction anymore. It's a product. News corporations, social platforms, governments, they all profit from keeping you alert. Why? Because a brain in panic mode doesn't think critically. It doesn't research. It doesn't debate. It obeys. It buys. It complies. That's the loop. 1. Show them a threat. 2. Make it personal. 3. Offer temporary safety. 4. Then show a new threat. 2. Make it personal. 3. Offer temporary safety. 4. Then show a new threat. This loop is everywhere. In politics, both sides weaponize fear to control their base. If they win, your world ends. In advertising, brands sell you products by selling you problems. Without this, you're not safe. In schools, kids are taught to fear failure, not chase curiosity. And in medicine, healthcare becomes disease management, constantly scanning for something wrong. The fear loop trains you to look for the next problem instead of living in the present.
It also fractures your identity. When you're always afraid, you become hyper-focused on yourself. You stop trusting others. You stop building community. Because the loop teaches you that everyone is a threat. Foreigners, neighbors, protesters, even your own family if they think differently. And what's the result of all this fear? A population that is easy to manage. When people are scared, they look for leaders. They surrender freedoms. They self-censor. They stop asking questions. In the fear loop, control becomes kindness. Censorship becomes safety. Obedience becomes virtue. You're not living, you're surviving. But here's the secret the manipulators don't want you to know. The fear loop only works if you forget you're in it. The moment you realize that your constant anxiety isn't yours, but injected from outside, you can begin to unplug. Ask, who benefits from me being afraid right now? Is this fear based on fact or just repetition? And most importantly, what happens if I stop believing the danger is everywhere? You'll feel resistance at first. The loop punishes calm. It rewards panic. But stay with it. Turn off the noise. Step outside the cycle. You'll notice something strange. Reality is often much calmer than the media suggests. And that's the final truth. The world isn't always on fire. But fear will convince you it is until you choose to walk out of the